Just recently, it was UFC 271, and it couldn't have gone any better. Before the main event, we were lucky to watch Derrick Lewis versus Tuivasa and Derek Brunson versus Jared Cannonier. Let's go over this incredible fight card. We'll start with the heavyweights. Tuivasa will surely gain a whole lot of followers after picking up the biggest win of his career in the UFC 271 co-main event. The Australian heavyweight got into an old-fashioned rumble with Derrick Lewis on Saturday night, which usually doesn't bode well for the opponents facing the Black Beast. Destiny was on the underdog side this time because Tuivasa connected with a crushing elbow strike on the feet that sent Derrick Lewis crashing face down to the canvas. The crowd went absolutely bonkers. Tuivasa seemed extremely happy after the fight, and why not, if he knocked out a ranked fighter in spectacular fashion. Afterward, the Australian fighter used his post-fight interview to introduce himself to the world.
That's the king of knockouts. Much respect to Derrick, but like I said, I'm young and I'm upcoming and I'm taking over. It's Thai, like Muay Thai. You know what I mean? Nah, I like throwing elbows. I like getting nitty gritty, and I'm always down to get down, baby.
With both fighters having incredible one-punch knockout power, Lewis and Tuivasa were both loaded and ready to shoot at the first sign of a mistake. As Tuivasa looked to land some leg kicks, Lewis started getting more aggressive while going for the head with his punches. After a clinch against the cage, Lewis took Tuivasa to the ground before the heavyweights got back to the feet and just started swinging sledgehammers at each other. The wild exchanges continued, with Tuivasa almost inviting Lewis to come after him as they continued to launch bombs.
Nice. Oh, good shot. Oh, he's hurt. Tuivasa retreats to the fence.
However, Tuivasa never stopped paying respect to the Black Beast. During his post-fight press conference, Tai expressed that the fight was not easy at all, admitting he had some bumps from taking shots of the Knockout King.
I got a few bumps on the head, that's for sure. On the side here, but there was nothing I didn't feel I was in too much of a danger, but he's the Knockout King. He's got heavy hands. He's a big boy. So I definitely felt him, but I was still in the game, so I was sweet.
It was an unbelievable performance for Tuivasa, who went into Lewis's hometown, played a dangerous game with him on the feet, and yet he's the one leaving with a knockout victory. Overall, Tuivasa has now won 5 fights in a row, all by knockout, as he makes a huge leap forward in the UFC heavyweight division. Moving on, we have an astonishing performance from Cannonier, who had to get through a tough first round to then come back with a brutal knockout, with a series of savage elbow strikes on the ground to finish Brunson in the second round. As the final strike landed, the referee stepped in to stop the contest at the same time that Brunson's corner simultaneously threw in the towel to ensure he didn't absorb any more damage. This victory seems to put Jared Cannonier next in line to face either Israel Adesanya or Robert Whittaker as he continues to go up in the middleweight division rankings.
Dana, I want that shot next. I'll get the shot next. It's me. Nobody else. Me. Okay.
Brunson had no patience rushing forward at the start of the fight, grabbing a leg and bringing Cannonier down to the canvas, but it was a short success as the killer gorilla was able to get back up to his feet. But while Brunson continued searching for the takedown, he was still throwing punches that kept Cannonier off balance. With less than 2 minutes left in the opening round, Brunson pushed ahead again, and this time he put Cannonier on the canvas before looking to advance his position. Once again, Cannonier got back to his feet, but then he ate a hard right hand that sent him crashing to the ground as Brunson looked for a rear naked choke as time ran out.
Man, if anybody knows my career at middleweight, they know that's usually how it's gonna go, especially with a high-level wrestler like Derrick. I never did discount his wrestling. I always said that that's his best chance of winning, and I wouldn't call it adversity. It's just going through the motions, if you will.
As soon as the second round started, Brunson once again went for the takedown, aiming at Jared's leg. But this time, Brunson's movement was not so imprecise, so Cannonier was able to land a critical strike on blonde Brunson. With Brunson hurt, Cannonier began unleashing much more strikes than in the first round, because he was no longer afraid of his opponent's takedown attempts. Brunson was desperate to close the distance, so Cannonier made him pay with a devastating elbow on the inside following another punch that put the former Strikeforce middleweight on his last legs. Cannonier then stuffed another takedown, except for this time he landed on top, which is where he came crashing down with a pair of elbows that separated Brunson from consciousness.
It wasn't just the elbow, it was that nice little backhand. I keep telling people, you get in my face with that disrespect, you're gonna catch the backhand. You come running up in my face, I'm gonna bust you in yours, and that's exactly what I did. I turned blonde Brunson into blood Brunson, like I said I was gonna do. It went down in H-Town.
And now the moment everyone's been waiting for, the main event. The last style bender had a much different fight with Bobby Knuckles than the first time they met, but in the end, the outcome was the same. The dominant UFC middleweight champion struggled with Robert Whittaker, who was much more precautious than last time. The final scorecards read 49-46, 48-47, and 48-47, with Adesanya moving to 22-1 in his career with this victory.
I knew he was going to bring everything. I knew he was going to bring everything because last time I took everything away from him. So he had nothing to lose. And like I said, I'm the champ. You want it, come get it.
Unlike their first meeting, Whittaker was far less aggressive at the start, while Adesanya was setting up his kicks while constantly switching stances to keep the Reaper off balance. One of the most memorable highlights of this fight was with less than 2 minutes remaining in the opening round, Adesanya stepped into a stiff left hand right down the middle that caught Whittaker clean and put him down on the canvas momentarily. The Reaper continued to look for takedowns, but never succeeded because the champion's defense was on point. Israel, on the other hand, threw combination after combination seeking for the knockout. Heading back to the corner, Whittaker almost looked defeated, which made him change his game plan when coming out for the second round. Adesanya controlled the distance with his length the whole fight, and Whittaker was throwing with much more volume, but he was also eating some brutal leg kicks that were really starting to take effect. Of course, Adesanya was giving as good as he gets because he fired back with the same kind of power that popped Whittaker in the exchange. So Izzy was pretty much dominating Rob, and this was reflected in Whittaker's confidence.
I did. I knew he was going to try and, like I said, copy Jan's homework, but I'm the big dog in this yard, so he couldn't take me down at all. It's just my stance is powerful, so I was using it to distract him as well and try and get that jab off, but he has been working on his boxing. I tried to get his leg because I hurt his leg, but once he realized it was hurt, he was really tentative and defensive with it, but kudos to his boxing team and his boxing coach.
Whittaker was certainly determined, but despite his best efforts, he just couldn't do enough damage to sway the judges, although he felt like the decision should have gone his way.
I know I started off rocky in that first round, but I feel like I took every round after that. It is what it is, but you know what they say, don't leave it to the judges. I mixed it in well, I fought my heart out, I'm happy. I'm happy that I fought my heart out, that I left it here. But yeah, you know, I'm gutted. I thought I did enough. I thought I took that. I was surprised with the decision. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's the champ. He beat me for the second time now, and that's that. We're the two best in the world. I know this. He knows this. We know this.
Before the fight, Adesanya complimented Whittaker as the second best middleweight in the UFC, although he said a big gap between them was still there. Following the rematch, Whittaker definitely made a better showing for himself, but Adesanya is still leaving as the UFC middleweight champion, and he already has plans for his next fight.
I know June doesn't have a pay-per-view yet, but like I said, I'm the new dog in the yard. I'm the big dog in the yard now, and I know the other dog, Jared Cannonier, did some work tonight, so yeah, I'm pissing in this case next time in June. Watch me.
Congratulations on another victory.